and welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast.
I won't change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American.
Yes, you are, and I'm Wesley Sykes, and through the other side of the ether is the Clark to my cousin Eddie. It's Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, Christmas lover for hire.
Don't do that to yourself. Yeah, your cousin Eddie. My goodness.
Yeah,
what a mess.
maybe not, but I think in a different life I could be. Yeah, I could embrace.
Oh, for me.
Well, and I also enjoy. Doesn't really have a care in the world, although he should have many. He doesn't really care about anything, and I kind of like that. What is it? Ignorance is bliss type of mentality.
Yeah, that's fair. What is it? He when after he steals his Clark's boss and everything, what is it? Clark says that my cousin-in-law Eddie has more heart than brain.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. Clark means a lot.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you haven't already guessed it, because this week we are now officially knee deep into the hashtag holiday season.
Holiday season. So whoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock. Don't forget to hang up your sock.
Because we're going to be discussing the Christmas classic, Christmas Vacation. It came out in 1989, starring Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo, who is just such a delight in this whole series, but this movie particularly.
Yeah, she really is, and we'll definitely dig into her character a little bit more. But I'm excited to. I don't know if we talked about this last episode, or if we only talked about this off air, but just kind of the idea came up in the course of us just talking and whatever. And my view on this movie has changed a little bit. I'm not going to say how, but I'll save that for when we actually get to the review, because we have other stuff to get to.
And we kind of entered this week in a similar spot where we both hadn't really watched, or maybe I'm speaking for you too much here, but haven't really watched it too much. I've always kind of seen it on TV and catch different portions, and I know the movie, but I never really sat down and watched it start to finish.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I thought you were going to see him watching a long time, because I watched it a couple times, like growing up. I feel like I didn't watch it till like I was in high school, though. Maybe 1-2 other times outside of that. But I was never the person that said, "Hey, why don't we watch Christmas Vacation?" That was never me. So
well, maybe now it will be, but we'll dive into that, because I got a Christmas Vacation adjacent type question for you for the intro question. Aside from Dennis and Randy Quaid, who plays the aforementioned cousin Eddie character, what are some other odd Hollywood relatives that you know that come to mind?
There are. I mean, the one for me right now that feels most relevant is the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen and Elizabeth Olsen, because I think there's like a video. I don't know if it's a music video or something where it has the Olsen twins in it, and then you see Elizabeth, or maybe it's like a home video. I don't know, but it's just so weird now. It's like, yeah, they were huge, and they still are doing just fine on their own. I don't know if it's like makeup or.
I think you're right. They do something like that. Yeah,
their own business venture. They're doing just great. But like Elizabeth Olsen is like borderline the it girl right now. Like she's one of the like most like recognizable women in Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's weird because I think Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen are my age, late 30s, 36, 37 or so. And it feels like a whole lifetime has gone by between when they were in the limelight to where Elizabeth Olsen is now. So it feels like they're almost not even sisters, with how much of the audience has seen Mary-Kate and then Ashley and then Elizabeth Olsen. There's been so much time between there. It feels almost like mother-daughter.
Yeah, it really does. Like I
know they're kids, and
but it's just the gap is remarkable. Like especially with their careers. But I mean, I guess it's just what happens when one's a child star and one doesn't come into her own until much later on in life. But that's one that jumps out to me the most. I know another one too is like the Coppola family is another one that's pretty big. And actually, I just pulled up Francis Ford Coppola because I haven't seen. I can't remember what he looks like.
He is a graduate of Hofstra University, much like myself.
Oh, look at that. Well, one of these pictures I'm looking at, I can totally see how Nick Cage and him are related. It is bizarre. That's another one. It's like he's
that's right. Yeah. So the father son and daughter relationship there that always gets crazy because you get name changes. Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, all of that stuff. That's like kind of a crazy thing. Martin Sheen, has like this Irish name, Irish Catholic name, but he was originally Estevez.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
another one too.
That's crazy. This was the one that I thought I found very funny was Jenny McCarthy and Melissa McCarthy. They're cousins.
Yeah, I just
I
saw
never
that.
knew that.
After looking at the question, I had no clue either. That's a very much a bizarre one. There's
The star of Madam Web, and of course 50 Shades of Grey, Dakota Johnson. I didn't know that she is the daughter of Melanie Griffin and Miami Vice's Don Johnson. Didn't know that.
That's an interesting one.
Mhm,
Stanley
mhm.
Tucci is married to Emily Blunt's older sister, so not blood, but by marriage.
I saw some of those. Yeah, I try to stay away from the in-law stuff here because I want the familial relationship. Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal, I feel like that's like I don't really feel like you see them a lot together.
That's a bizarre one, like because a lot of these you can even if they like the Afflecks, like they look
Mhm.
kind of different, but you also like they look quite different at first glance, but then when you look at them more, it's like, okay, I see how they're related.
Yep.
Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It's very that like that, and I feel bad, but it's like one of them got the looks and the other one absolutely did not.
Well, two people or one sibling pair that looks the same but have different names are Jonah Hill and Beanie Feldstein. So
Oh
Beanie
yeah, that's
Feldstein,
right.
she was in Booksmart. They look exact. If you just got like a face mashup, I don't know if
Mhm.
you ever played like the Daily Dozen trivia that Barstool does. They do like the celebrity mashup. If you were to morph her face with his body or vice versa, it would be like almost
Mhm.
a spitting image. It would just be one of them.
Hmm. Okay, I remember
The
watching.
Baldwins, of course.
Yeah, the Baldwins, the Hemsworths.
But the
Yeah.
Hemsworth aren't that crazy. Stephen and Billy were kind of crazy and wacky, and
Oh right.
Alec Baldwin was like the one who kind of got it all together. You know what I mean? And now he's like killing people on movie sets.
Yeah, so I lost the thread of the odd relative. My
Yeah. But
apologies.
that is the one there because when you think about the third one is the odd one, right? Who's like the oldest? He was in Westworld.
Billy Baldwin.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Hemsworth now.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, Liam also was married to Miley Cyrus during her
Yep.
wild days, so there's another
Mm-hmm.
thing too. But yeah, it's I'm just why am I seeing Florence Pugh and Toby Sebastian? I thought you were Toby Maguire. That would have been weird. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of weird ones out there. That's for damn sure.
Holly Weird, am I right?
Oh, look at you.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Little jump early into trending now. Cillian Murphy. Comes from My Time to Shine. Hello. Cillian Murphy is being rumored to be the MCU's top choice for Doctor Doom. I know as a huge Peaky Blinders fan, you're probably in on this.
I'm very much in on it. My only concern is that with Cillian Murphy that
He's too frail.
No, I have okay. So from an acting perspective, I have zero concern about
Mhm.
Cillian Murphy playing this any role. Like quite honestly, like he's my favorite actor out there right now. I think he does an outstanding job in pretty much everything I've seen him in. My concern is that I just don't think he'd want to do it because he's now that he's become big from Peaky Blinders. He'd been around for a while, but like that upped his status
Well,
quite
and
a
certainly
bit.
Oppenheimer, yeah.
Yeah, and then Oppenheimer on top of that. But with Oppenheimer, it's more. I know it was a huge, big budget thing, but I don't know. I think committing it's a one off. I don't know if he's going
Mhm.
to commit to something long term like this, especially when it's like not as artsy. Like he's a theater guy,
He's an
and
actor.
yeah.
An
So
actor.
yeah, I listen to like interviews whenever he decides to, because he's not a big on interviews. But I like it's clear he's not like a snob about this kind of stuff. But I just
Mhm.
feel like it's not his thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've liked him in some of the interviews that I've seen. I've seen like kind of like the spoofs almost. I don't know if it's spoofs, but it's like the reporter kind of gets owned by Cillian Murphy. Like
Mm.
someone said, you're English? What does this mean?" For talking about something, he's like, "No, I'm
Oh
Irish," and they're like, "Isn't that the same thing?" You're
yeah,
like,
I'm like,
I don't know."
come on, dude.
And then there was another time where I think this may have been dubbed over, but I saw some him meeting Prince Harry or one of the princes of England, and
Mhm.
again, kind of saying that, and he's like, no, I'm Irish, like I'm Irish, and he's like really kind of forced it on them there. again, a little bit of that English-Irish rivalry there. So I like the fire in his heart. I think this could be good. I could see him as it. He kind of actually reminds me of the actor from Nip Tuck who played Doctor Doom in the original Fantastic Four movies there. He kind of has that little bit of like that suave Patrick Bateman-y type of vibe, which I think would work as Doctor Doom, and he definitely has the acting chops. But again, maybe get him on the superhero cycle there.
Yeah, he definitely, and him and Pedro Pascal would be a really. I know things haven't been finalized. It seems like with Pascal, I haven't seen an announcement from Marvel or Disney or anything, but I do think that like that would be an interesting pairing to have opposite one another.
Well, another rumor here, this has been circulating the internet. I don't have attribution for this, but for Fantastic Four, Anya Taylor-Joy is rumored to play the Silver Surfer. And before this news came out, I think last week, ahead of our episode last week, it was talked about the Silver Surfer possibly being, gender swapped or being one of the woman heralds of Galactus here. But this is interesting. If it is woman swapped of a Norrin Rad character and Anya Taylor-Joy, I think that could be I can kind of see that.
So you saw,
much as I'm not crazy about the gender swaps and everything.
So I can see it too if they go that route. But you saw Silver Surfer specifically, because I saw Anya Taylor-Joy possibly in talks for just playing an antagonist in some capacity.
Maybe that's fair.
Okay.
Maybe I was putting too many pieces together there. But yeah, as an antagonist, but it would make sense. Like she kind of fits into that Silver Surfer. She's kind of frail. She's got the silver white long hair.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of looks like an alien.
There are heralds of which we talked about previously. There are heralds of Galactus that are female that she could just slide in, and hey, that's good for her. And that could work in the sense of like bringing in a well-known actor or actress and then giving them a character who nobody really gave a shit about previously. Right. Now they may like more. I'm totally down with that. That said, if they do go the route of like, hey, we want to make you Silver Surfer, this is one of those exceptions where I think this could actually like work out really well because just Anya Taylor-Joy is outstanding. But I don't think you need to necessarily. I think there's an opportunity elsewhere to maximize on their dollar, I guess.
I agree, but I also think if they're doing a Herald of Galactus, it has to be Norrin Rad and Silver Surfer, right? I mean, that's what the people want.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the people would want but they've not been they've been really slow playing on giving the people what they want. So, I mean, who knows? But
if it does go the route with a gender swap, I'm kind of can get behind Anya Taylor-Joy on this.
Yeah.
I thought she was one of the bright spots in Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, that's right. She was
or the mutants or whatever. Not Dark Phoenix.
She was in the mutants. Yeah, she was magic. She was actually. Oh my god! Yeah, that's what it was. She was magic. She was the best character in that movie. Period. Which was one of the movies we braved the theaters for.
We did brave the theaters
for that one.
Yep, that's true. We probably could have waited a little longer for it.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? It worked out. But I would say I'm with her and Cillian Murphy, who both were in Peaky Blinders. I'd be equal if we got them both in this, that'd be awesome. Like I'd be very happy with that. But I think of the two, I think Anya Taylor-Joy is more realistic to see her come into some level of a role for Fantastic Four than Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, and I thought some people were speculating on the internet that Doctor Doom wouldn't really be a prominent focus in this movie, in the Fantastic Four movie, with Galactus being the main villain, and then maybe you get like a stinger or an end credit scene or something like that with Doctor Doom, or he kind of comes up into a last act type of thing.
If you're gonna involve one, like meaning Doom and Galactus, if you're going to involve one, like, and you're just introducing them, it doesn't make sense to make the other one like on the similar level of prominence in that movie. But the other thing again too was like, so we could just have Doom for a second, but we're going to talk about some other MCU stuff in a second. But if Kang, his role at all changes in the course of things in the MCU, and you're going to pivot to Doom again, it's like Cillian Murphy, is he gonna want to be that dude again? And always like, I think he's above being seen as Doom for the rest of his life, but I don't know if he wants to take that risk necessarily when he doesn't have to for his career.
Well, one person who wants to be Doctor Doom is John Hamm. I think he's been very outspoken
Yeah.
in interviews before that he loves Doctor Doom and he would love the opportunity to play him. Couldn't see that. He does kind of have that debonair douchebaggery about him, but he's a little too well liked, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair. It sucks that would be like
It
an
would
obstacle,
be
but
tough to hate him.
it sucks that it would be an obstacle. But I agree with you that it is would be a potential obstacle. Yeah, I don't know. I'm watching him right now in Good Omens, and he's again like just kind of his character's a bit goofy in it right now, dealing
Well,
with amnesia.
and even in the town where he plays, the FBI inspector who, is really the bad guy in the movie because you're rooting for the bad guys. You even like him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he has that line, which is this is a not fucking around crew, and this not fucking around
Yeah.
crew is about to go both ways. I was like, yeah, that's one of the lines that sticks with me most. It's that, and whose car are we taking?
Yeah, well, and the other good line, he's like, "You do know we are a national organization, Claire." At the end, I thought that was again. It's like the douchebaggery, but it just works.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't, I'm not out on it. It could work. I just don't know. I don't feel as good about it as I would if it was Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
There's bias there, but
absolutely.
still.
No, I'm with you on that too. What else do we got in the hopper?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
This is from Deadline, Loki creator. This is a bit of a news that broke a little bit earlier today as a crow flies. Loki creator Michael Waldron to now write both the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So he was already signed on to do Secret Wars. Now he's doing the Kang Dynasty. I think on paper this looks really good. Loki, the Loki series is, I think, the crown jewel of the MCU Disney Plus venture. And I think it's also could tie into a lot of other things that go on down the later in the pipeline based on how Loki season 2 ended. I also like how it's cohesion. We had both the Russo brothers writing for Infinity War and Endgame, so you have kind of one mind or two minds in that case, kind of working together to make sure everything's right. So I think from a cohesive standpoint, that's great too.
That was exactly what I was going to hit on with this. Is that we talked about this? It may have been in the 45th installment of the Change My Mind podcast, like that. We would like to see some level of like a through line. If you had some where you have Feige at the top, and then if we're talking like the street level stuff, you have one person oversee it, and then all that stuff and so on, where you have a general at each level of or each portion of the MCU. If that's Michael Waldron who's going to see the big overarching stuff, then great. I'm totally down with that. He did, like, as much as I didn't love the first season of Loki as much as the average person did, it was still very good. I still did like it. And the second season was also really good. We felt pretty similarly. I know you felt it was a little bit of a dip, but you still liked it a lot. So
yep.
And then in terms of the weight of that series compared to a lot of stuff from phase 4 and phase 5, it's right up there, if not at the top.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's been one of the bright spots post Endgame is that Loki series, both on the big screen and on the silver screen there. So I think, again, and whatever they decide to do with Kang Dynasty, with Secret Wars, with Jonathan Majors, how they pivot or if they pivot at all, I feel trusting that Michael Waldron could do it because he was also the writer on, was it Quantumania or Multiverse of Madness? I want to say Multiverse of Madness, but I'm not sure. But so he has experience either way with dealing with multiverse or kind of heady topics. He of course comes from Rick and Morty. He did a good job with Loki. Obviously time travel, multiversal stuff's going to be involved in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, so I feel like that's a good choice to go to.
It was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is the one that he did. Yeah, so yeah, I'm totally
Which
down
I like more than most.
Yes, and we are aligned in that one for sure. But yeah,
all right, absolutely. Let's what do you got brewing in the comic book minute? And say goodbye to Twitter.
A superb choice.
So this week in comics, so from Image, we got the second issue of Edenwood, which has been a pretty awesome visual experience so far. I've already read the second issue of this. This is written and drawn by Tony Daniel from Dark Horse. For those horror fans out there who just continue to stick to horror stuff outside of October, like I do with reading specifically, Drive Like Hell issue 2. This is by Rich Douek and Alex Cormack, a pairing that Joe has talked about on TLDR quite a bit. Alex Cormack has really kind of emerged over the years as one of the best horror artists there are in comics, not just present, but maybe all time. And then from Boom, we have Grim issue 15, which is the end of the 3rd arc of this Grim Reaper story, which Joe and I have really been enjoying. And then the final issue of Alice Ever After, which is the 2nd arc of this like Alice in Wonderland kind of adult type story where like she's kind of like where Alice in Wonderland is believed like the original story is believed to be about like is it opioids or what?
Like an acid trip or LSD trip or something. Yeah.
Along those lines, like this, in this case, there's like a level of like mental health issues involved, and then a level like where it's like years and years ago, like in the, I don't know, like, it's like early 20th century. Where she's like put in like a mental institution, and then she's got like the drugs that she's become addicted to, all this kind of stuff. It's been really trippy, especially with the art, bringing it all together. So this is the end of the 2nd arc, which I liked the first a lot. Talked about it on TLDR. The 2nd one has absolutely been better. So looking forward to the 3rd, which the creator of that series, Dan Panosian, told us is going to be coming at some point down the line from Boom. As for TLDR this week, we are doing What's New, because we may or may not have something else in the hopper coming later on in the week, which all that you can get after you listen to CMM Podcast.
I love it. Like nice big market tease to end the comic book minute. That's great stuff here. Let's shift gears. Are you ready to get to our main topic?
Yes, I am.
Tommy, are you ready? Wait. Oh.
All right, now let's go get him.
Whew.
All right, thanks. He's ready. All right, let's go get him now. Christmas Vacation 1989 holiday review.
Season. So whoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock.
All right, don't forget to put on your sock. What's the synopsis here, Nick?
The Griswold family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster.
Nice, that's succinct. I think you get the point across. It kind of leaves you wondering what kind of disasters go on in this Christmas big family.
Yes,
this is directed by Jeremiah S. Chechik, and written by the acclaimed John Hughes, starring Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen, Juliette Lewis as Audrey, Johnny Galecki as Rusty, John Randolph as Clark Sr., Diane Ladd as Nora, E.G. Marshall as Art Smith, Doris Roberts as Frances Smith, Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie. We have Miriam Flynn as Cousin Catherine, and Cody Berger as Rocky Johnson here. I actually don't even know who that is.
Rocky is Eddie's kid, but his son.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe I cut it off a little early there, but that's enough people.
Well, either way, this hauled in $74.5 million domestically on a $25 million budget, and obviously this came back in '89, so that $74.5 million carries even more weight. Featured an 11.7 million opening weekend. On IMDb right now, it's got a 7.5 out of 10 with a 70-86 split on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.6 out of 5 on Google reviews, with 91% of Google users liking this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a domestic only release. It got re-released internationally, I think during COVID, and it pulled in like $12,000 internationally. So
wait, really?
The antics. Yeah.
Huh.
It's been released in theaters a couple of times. I think it's made like a couple more million, stateside on the re-releases here. Just, if you want to go have a nice little holiday feature film in the movie theater,
Yeah, smart. Get it like just even if you did like discounted tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, a little nice tidbit there. What's your score and tweet length review?
So this gets an 81 out of 100 for me. I'm blown away by how this movie has held up while still painting an accurate picture of that era.
I like that. I give this an 87 out of 100. This was a Christmas classic that I never fully watched. A Christmas Vacation. Has a perfect blend of wholesome Christmas fun and edgy comedy to appeal to the whole family. Two thumbs up.
Yeah, it's this was a pleasant surprise for me rewatching this because again, it's been a long time for me since I'd given it a look.
Well, yeah, so this hops right into our exit survey questions here. Is this in your Christmas rewatch rotation? And if so, how high up is it?
So, I felt bad. I forgot that this was the first question that we have. But I think now going forward, this will be in consideration more often for me. Whereas in the
Hmm.
past, it's like it comes up in my head, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing Christmas Vacation. I don't have any desire. But now, I think because I'm older and we're so far away from, and like, look, '89. I was born in '89, but this
Hmm.
still has that feel from when I was a kid, like that. It feels very familiar, and it feels like stories I've heard from my dad. It's like all this stuff. It feels familiar. So I think now it'll be in conversation at least when the missus and I convene about Christmas movies at this time of year in the future.
Yeah, no, I agree. Typically, it hasn't been. I'd always like I said off the top, I'd always catch portions of it on television, but never really watched it in its entirety. And I got the gist of it. My father-in-law loves the movie. My dad loves the movie. So that's a big dad movie. I feel like
Yeah.
Chevy Chase is like a big actor. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, maybe Steve Martin, of a little bit older age. But that's like right in our dad's generation there. So those are their guys. They're Adam Sandler's, they're Will Ferrell's, if you will. There. So I would hear these all these jokes and like the bits and everything.
Hmm.
Every Christmas. So, but I think this is going to be in my rewatch list here. It's always the Home Alones, it's always the Santa Claus, A Christmas Story on Christmas Eve. Yeah, we've worked in the newer movie the night before with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Falcon. Why can't I remember his name? But that actor.
Anthony Mackie.
Thank you. Yes. Which is great. I think that's a great newer Christmas movie. But now, yeah, I think having some of the old school ones, like you said, it does kind of have like a early '90s young Christmas type of feel for us.
Yeah, in Christmas, I don't know. We set a list for October, but I don't think we're going to be doing that this time around.
Hmm.
But Christmas Stories one too. I know we was it last year that we had the Christmas Story sequel come out.
We did, yeah, and that wasn't too bad.
Oh, wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad.
We had terrible expectations for it. I mean,
Yes.
there's the Home Alone return, which I believe was the year before. I think
Hmm. And that was bad.
that was terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did not
The
do
bright
good.
spot of that was Buzz having a 2-second cameo.
That's right. Yeah, that's all anyone was talking about.
Yeah.
Um, is there one moment or bit from this movie that hits home most for you?
Um,
Relatable or something that like maybe is like you get secondhand embarrassment, secondhand cringe from watching?
Okay, so the cat creating problems around the Christmas tree is like the most relatable thing for me, like from like life experience, because
Yeah.
I grew up with a cat, have a cat, so I know what that's all about. But the one now that, and I think this is why I appreciated this movie more, and I think this is also why dads like this movie so much, because like my dad too, he's the one that introduced me to this movie. The idea of hosting a family for a holiday.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've had to do it yet, but I know, like, just in the scheme of life, neither of us are far from it if you haven't done it already. And it's just like, oh goodness, like I want an easy holiday, man. I don't want I don't want Christmas or Thanksgiving. No, like give me like 4th of July or something.
Those are high expectations. The Christmases, the Thanksgivings, the Easters, right? Those are like the three, kind of like the holy trinity of big holidays there, right? The Mount Rushmore, if you will, if you want to throw another one on there.
Mm,
But yeah, no, so we've done like, we had our child christened not too long ago. So we had people over for that. We've had hot Christmas parties in the past that we've hosted,
sure.
but
Yep.
not where it's just kind of like finger foods and appetizers and booze. But
Mhm.
when you have your family coming over and suddenly that's something I look forward to. I'm very much like Clark Griswold with like wanting to have the wholesome, Norman Rockwell type Christmas. Like that's definitely me. So I'm looking forward to that moment, and that does bring me a lot of anxiety.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
turkey, Nick,
Dude, yeah.
overcooking the turkey, like
Yeah.
that's the nightmare.
I think as a kid, I didn't like get it either with the turkey thing. I was like, wait, what the fuck just happened to that? And it's like, oh, it dried out because that's a fucking thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. And then that would be an even bigger deal on Thanksgiving. So no, you know what? Another one I might consider too, putting up for is New Year's, because I know it's a late night and everything, but when you
Hmm.
talk about finger food and stuff like that, like it's a lot more the expectations are not the same for the food there.
No, but it's it's the good time that you want for the New Year's, right? You want to
Yep.
make sure that everyone who's coming alone maybe has an opportunity to get that New Year's Eve kiss. You want to make sure they have a magical moment, things like that,
But less
Uh,
stressful for me by
for,
far.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I think if you're having everyone's not really. It's on a pedestal. Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then maybe Easter's in that tier 2 there.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say 4th of July is too far from Easter in that tier 2, but I think it's easier to
No, I
manage.
agree. I agree. 4th of
But
July for sure.
you can just make hot dogs and hamburgers, so it
Yeah,
makes
and it's
it
beers and stuff like that, right? Yeah,
so
yeah.
much easier in that regard. But what about you? What's your most relatable bit from this?
Well, certainly the having the family over for a holiday. I agree with that completely. And then the other one is the Christmas lights, which I feel like is the obvious answer for so
Oh
many
yeah,
people, right? Like I think I said last week that I was putting up the icicle lights over the gutters there, and I have the ladder out, and the postman comes up to drop off the mail, and he's like, "You're not going to Clark Griswold it, right?" And I was like, "No, I hope not this year. That was me last year." And that was the case. And it's like I get that.
yeah.
And Clark's problem is that he brings everybody out to show it for the first time when he's plugging in all the lights or the final string of lights. You got to do that beforehand to make sure that it works, so then you're not under delivering when you bring the family out into the cold.
Clark Griswold is the king of cart. Was it cart before the horse?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, because he does the same
absolutely.
thing with the bonus, and that friggin' killed me, man. It still kills me. I know what happens. It's still like, what's the fucking matter with you, dude?
Mm-hmm.
You don't do shit like that. Come on.
Have you been at a job where they've given out bonuses?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. I've been at it before, and at like smaller companies, and you're just not sure if it's going to be there. You're hoping it does. You are kind of sweating it out, or it's like, oh, is it going to be the same as last year? Do I bank on it? I'm not going to write checks that I can't be cashed yet.
Yeah.
Like
It's. I
Clark,
mean,
but you
I,
are kind of like banking on it for a little bit.
I try not to. It's like you
Yeah,
have what you have, and then if you get that, that's great. But like that is. You can apply that to spots elsewhere afterwards, and then get yourself something nice too. But like buying a fucking pool like that back in the
hmm
day, what is the matter? You're not trying to get a pool, by the way, right?
No,
No.
it wouldn't work in our backyard here. I would like a pool
Okay.
at some point, maybe at the next house when we size up there. But yeah.
hmm Okay. I just
No,
made. As I was watching this, I was like, I can't remember if Wes was wanted to have one or not. But anyway,
I'd like what the insurance is crazy, and it's like you think about it now, like even like something like a trampoline, like is nuts when you think about kids and like
yeah.
the liability that brings. Like I
Oh,
would
there's a
never have a trampoline, but like I also don't want a diving board.
yeah. No, you never see a diving board anymore. Like for
Mm-mm.
pools, I'm trying to think when like the last time I feel like it was like a UMass Dartmouth camp, like in their like pool. Like
Sure,
that's the last
yeah.
time I saw one. It's crazy.
Yeah, you don't really see them all that often there, but I'm on board with the pools. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of upkeep.
That's so that like that I to me the that belongs in a certain. I'm going to put this in a category for later, and I'll offer because that applies there. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
We'll go on to the next question. Where does this rank among other National Lampoon movies that you may or may not have watched?
Yeah, I think so. They have two vacation movies. The Vegas Vacation is the other one. Is that what it is?
Vegas, they have the original one, National Lampoon's Vacation. They have European Vacation, and then this was the third one, Christmas Vacation.
I think I've seen the original one, and then
Mhm.
I've seen and then there's Van Wilder.
Mhm.
I've never seen anything besides this one more than once, and maybe that like I should change that. But like, so this is like an easy number one for me.
Vegas Vacation is up there. I haven't watched actually no, I have seen kind of like with Christmas Vacation. I've seen good portions of National Lampoon's Vacation, the first one, to kind of get the idea of it.
Gotcha.
He's driving, he gets highway hypnosis. He sees the girl next to him who keeps coming back. The pretty girl, which is a theme that gets played up and picked up again at the shopping mall a little bit earlier in this movie. But yeah, so I get some of those things, but I haven't watched it in its entirety. I have watched multiple times Vegas Vacation, and I love that movie. Papa Giorgio is great. Or Wayne Newton is seducing Beverly D'Angelo, and it's like that's a great bit. I'll be making pasta. It's very, very funny stuff. And Van Wilder's good. That hits my youth.
Mhm.
Little known fact. I don't know if you know this comedian. He's kind of well known. Not my personal favorite, but Bert Kreischer.
No, not familiar with that name.
Yeah, so he's a guy. He's a big, hairy, fat guy who takes his shirt off. He does sells out stadiums. He's huge. He just had a movie come out about the Machine, kind of recently, within the past year.
Okay.
But that movie, Van Wilder, is based on Bert Kreischer.
Really?
Bert Kreischer had a story written about him in Rolling Stone magazine as the Ryan Reynolds character, pretty much, and that he was that guy.
Huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
it took place. He went to Florida State.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes that part is not surprising.
Yeah, but I thought I didn't know that until after I'd heard of Bert Kreischer, and I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story.
That is. Wow.
He's insufferable, though.
Is he?
That's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
He's very popular, but that's just me.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is probably number 1 for me right now. Because I won't go back and watch Vegas Vacation. I don't really have any need or desire to go back and watch Van Wilder. This one, specifically because of the holiday element, will keep me coming back year after year, I think.
Yeah, I tend to feel the same way. Maybe randomly Van Wilder, but I'm not going to think of it outside of thinking of Christmas Vacation. National Lampoon. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll go back. But I mean, I don't know.
It's more of a spin-off. It's the American Pie spin-offs. They just bought the rights to the American Pie name, but they got all new actors. It's direct to DVD type movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the idea that I got with Van Wilder. I know it was released in theaters, but it's an offshoot. They're just using the National Lampoon's branding.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I love Ryan Reynolds, but I just don't know if we'll ever do that. But
yeah.
Anyways,
he'll be disappointed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What was the most rewatchable scene for you?
You know what made me laugh out loud the most was probably I just completely forgot this was a thing. Aunt Bethany, who shows up way late, where she starts. I know she sings the national anthem at the end of it, and I did remember that, but I forgot that she said the Pledge of Allegiance instead of saying grace at the dinner table.
Yeah,
and I laughed out loud at that moment, and I was kind of stunned by myself.
She's great. She's coming off the bench like Jamal Crawford, she's just lighting it up, crossing people over left and right there. So she comes in at a very late part of the movie and makes a lot of damage. She's kind of like a closer.
Yeah, she really was. She really was. I think, and outside of that too, the everything with related to the lights too. It's not for the reason of you were it's relatable for you. Mm-hmm. I'm just this is why I never want to fucking do this, because I feel like I would lose my mind. I'm just getting mad, thinking about all the hassle that comes with it. I put up lights a bunch when I was a kid, but my grandparents got older and because they live right nearby, and they just stopped putting up as much stuff. And then my parents started to be like, you know what? We don't want to do this. So my dad thought that. So we didn't do it. Indoor stuff, go all out. I'm totally down with that. Outdoor stuff, not as much.
Now, see, I think it's a bit of perseverance, and it's not about me. I want the neighborhood to have holiday cheer. I want the kids to come back and see the lights on. So it's I get it's a complete pain in the ass. But it's you do it for the memories.
You
do it for the story.
You know that?
I'm just trying to be a regular old Clark,
Look at you. Yeah.
But speaking of that, the mall lingerie scene, ending with Rusty say, it's see, there's no the line doesn't show, Rusty.
Yeah, that was
all that stuff. He's like, it's a bit nipply. It's nipple, my nips, and it's just choking over his words. That's a classic Chevy Chase to me. That whole scene, it's a microcosm for who he was as a comedian, or a comedic actor.
It's really impressive, because it all feels so natural the way that he does it. It really is remarkable.
And she's kind of feeding into it. Of course, she's trying to get the sale, but she's not turned off by it. She finds it charming,
Yeah, that's
it works.
What's funny is I remember as soon as the scene came up, I was like, I remember this from when I was a kid, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's funny. She seemed way more about it when I was a kid than she does as I'm rewatching this.
She's kind of playing along with it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Eventually she really leans in and now it's is she into it, or is she just really playing into it? But it took longer then I remembered it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, my wife died, but I'm buying her lingerie."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all this,
she didn't
it's
die.
great.
She's just, we got divorced, and she never
Yeah.
wears underwear. So
And he's like wiping his face with the panties. Like it's
Mhm.
great stuff.
Yeah,
The Cousin Eddie's best line of the whole movie when he's emptying out his RV's septic tank there, and he says, "Shitter's full. Merry Christmas" to the yuppie neighbors, and he's
Yeah.
yelling it to Clark there. That whole scene's great, and like, I mean, Clark and Chevy Chase is just so good because he's got this like dry, pessimistic, like jaded outlook, like he's kind of been beaten down in life, but he's still optimistic for some reason. But he
Yep.
just makes these like deadpan remarks, like, "Oh, I'm just looking at Eddie and his, in his bathrobe there, just entering his RV into our sewer."
Yep.
Yeah, just like very casually says all that stuff. So
Yep.
it pulls off perfectly.
Yeah, it's like when Eddie shows up too. She's like says Eddie like 5 times. She's like Eddie,
Yeah.
Eddie. But yeah, it's in that is the whole movie though. It's just like he's a beaten down man who's just trying to support his family and try and give them this like amazing Christmas after years and years of not getting the Christmas that he wants. He's like, fuck this, I'm gonna take it on and I'm gonna win. And he kind of does.
He kind of does. He loses a lot there, and it's particularly after he finds out that he's not getting the Christmas bonus. I mean, you put the nail on the head there, putting the cart before the horse. Not only with the down payment on the pool, but then he goes one step further and tells him when he thinks he has the check before he's opened the envelope that he put too much down, and his account doesn't have the money, and all this stuff that he's been holding inside for however long. He just lets it all out, and then he gets a 1 year subscription to a monthly jam club,
which is just like, what the fuck? That's like,
Yeah.
And I get it. And you've been getting a bonus for 17 years. I understand that. That's like, I get the level of expectation, but this again, like this is next level for me. I understand if you want like mentally are expecting it and mentally banking on it, but he's actually like put himself in a terrible spot where he needs that shit. That's next level, and that's that's remarkably irresponsible and stupid.
Yeah, incredibly stupid, but also very very dick move not to give out the bonuses and then not tell anyone about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been doing especially when you've been doing it for 17 years, like
Right.
and back then too, it wasn't like now where like there can be other things that influence like the size of a bonus and like.
Well, yeah, I wonder what the bonus was.
Yeah.
It was $7,400 or whatever. It was like a $7,000 for the down payment on the pool. But then he's talking about covering the down payment as well as, whatever else that needs to kind of finish the job, and then flying out his family to open it up after with whatever's left over. And I'm like, what? How much is this?
Icing on the cake that I'll fly you all out here. Shut up, you moron. And also, like under the radar and all that fucking shit is, oh hey, I wrote the check without there being enough money in the bank, so like you overdrafted on the check.
Yep.
What?
And you probably told the pool guy, he's like, "Hey, listen, don't cash this until the new year or something like that. But here, this is what we got." So I don't know how exactly that works. Maybe it's not really a down payment then if they can't cash it. I don't know.
I don't know, but like that's just next level. Just if you're asking for it. But
yeah,
anyway,
no. He's definitely skating on thin ice there for sure. And I think that's just about it. Those are some of the memorable, most rewatchable scenes. I think the Christmas dinner scene is great when they're around the table. Of course, that's kind of like the cliche moment, like you mentioned before, with the turkey kind of imploding. I don't know how you want to describe that. But yeah, that's certainly a good one. What do you think aged the best from this movie, though?
So we have some casting stuff that I think is really interesting that we'll get into in a second. But the one for me that really like carried this movie in a lot of ways is this movie like becoming something of a period piece. And I know most of the time those are like intentionally done and they're more like drama in some way, shape, or form.
But no, but like the Christmas Story is definitely a period piece, and that holds up for another generation. Probably for like Clark was probably Ralphie, in that movie.
Yeah, but Christmas Story, that one also came out in the 80s. If I'm
the 80s or 90s, yeah.
Yeah, 1983. So there you go. But it's set like in the 60s or something
Mm-hmm.
to that end. So with that being the case, it's like that was intentionally done as a period piece. This is supposed to be like in the here and now when this movie came out, and it's aged so well in that like that's part of why I want to add it to the rotation. It's like my personally like this wasn't what my Christmas was like, but as a kid, but it feels
I
very
hope no one
similar.
has a Christmas like that.
Very true, but it feels similar. Like there's things that are relatable with this
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah,
a kid,
absolutely.
and I guess then also now like that we're adults and like we're gonna have children of our own, and you already do, and so on. It's like, well, if we do, it's I can't imagine like if I had to fucking host Christmas, what it would turn into. So there's just so much there, and then again, the era that it's from, it's all very well represented. For me, like the movie itself ages so well because it's just done such a good job representing a specific period of time.
Yeah, and I think what we talk about all the times with the Pixar movies is how they're able to capture an entire audience of multiple age groups, right? And appeal to the parents who are taking the kids, and then the kids who it's mainly for, right? So this is like for Saturday Night Live fans who are probably in their mid-20s, but also with their families too. So you can show it with your dad,
Mm.
when you're home for the holidays or something like that. Or it's not so crass where you can't show your, I don't know, 10-year-old, 11-year-old son or something like 10, kids of a certain age where you can kind of share it all together.
Yeah, the only thing that is at all like dodgy is the stuff with the mall employee.
Yeah, yeah. And there's some language there, but it's nothing
Well,
like,
okay, yeah, sorry.
there's
Yeah.
nothing like bad about it though. There's nothing really too crass about it.
I just don't think about the language one ever quite as much because I also know when we were like in fourth grade, it was like, we knew all these words by then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
anyways, that was the big one for me. You have
Mhm.
more actors and whatnot listed off. I have one myself, but I want you to lead the way here, of
Well,
course.
yeah, we had Rusty, who later played in The Big Bang Theory. Later, Johnny Galecki. Didn't know that. I didn't watch that show, but
He's
I
Leonard for
forgot that.
everybody at home. I
Mhm.
mean, you can figure it out when it's like one of the main characters. I was blown away. I never knew that because I watch this and think of Juliette Lewis, and it's like, oh
Mhm.
shit! Like, my first memory of Juliette Lewis, I think, it's not her most memorable role, but it's Starsky and Hutch,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
opposite Vince Vaughn. But like,
I was thinking Old School. She's in that too. Yeah.
she's in Old School as well,
Small
too.
role. Yep.
Yeah, so she those are what I think of her first, but now I think of her as Natural Born Killers,
Mhm. Mhm.
with Woody, and then she's also in Yellow Jackets, which I still have yet to watch, but obviously that's been a pretty popular movie too, or show, excuse me.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are two like remarkable ones. Their careers, yeah, definitely. They definitely took on some bigger roles later.
Yeah, and I just loved Beverly D'Angelo. I think she's a delight. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't want to disrespect the woman or anything, but like, what a milf, you know, what a
she
milf.
does look good, and yeah, she does look good.
But she puts the mother in milf. You know what I mean? She has like this like motherly, like I don't know, like aura about her, which
Yeah,
we'll come and get into a little bit later. But she has this way of just kind of like going where the wind of the situation takes her and making the best out of it.
you mean like when she finds out what Clark did with the fucking bank account, like with the check of the money that they don't
She
have?
doesn't even question about it,
She flinches, and then the camera like pans to her like for a second, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? And then she just kind of moves on with it and like lets it go.
Well, yeah, and Clark is really like can be unbearable. He's kind of a loser. He's kind of like a dumpy guy, but and
Mm,
she's like so well put together, and she's like very loyal.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
she's never annoyed by him. She just kind of rolls her eyes, but is still always by his side too, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doris Roberts went on to Everyone Loves Raymond, and of course, Grandma's Boy fame. So she was Grandma.
Yep.
Uh,
She's something else.
we talked about this a little bit already. Chevy Chase's asshole, sarcastic humor. Again, this movie, Fletch and Caddyshack. That's probably again the holy trinity of Chevy Chase movies there that kind of encapsulate his whole comedic demeanor.
Fletch. I loved Fletch. I haven't watched it in a long time. I watched it in college, but I really
Mhm.
enjoyed it. My dad got it for me like as a thing for like watch this at some point in college. I should have gotten it for you, and I never did, or showed you to, and I never did, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
loving
mean that's another one. The father-in-law loves that movie. It might be his favorite movie.
it. Oh,
But Clark's idyllic and wholesome family outlook, right? So I find that to be very charming. Like we already mentioned, he's still beaten down. He's still kind of like that working class guy who's beaten down by family and life and all that stuff, kids, job. But he still has a good outlook on everything, and so I appreciate that. Where in a humor movie or in a comedy movie, even if it's a Christmas movie, I'm thinking of like Bad Santa, for example. There is a universe where this could take more of like a darker turn, and
sure.
he's like not as idealistic as he is.
Yeah, yeah. That could be funny too. But yes, I agree.
Right. So I like that too. So again, that kind of brings in the wholesome family fun to which to your point, I think, kind of makes it hold up as kind of timeless.
Hmm.
What do you think is going to age the worst from this movie?
Well, what has aged the worst is Randy Quaid. There's been a lot that's gone on with him over the years. I was like, because I know Chevy Chase is. You could also say something for him in different ways.
Yeah.
But like I was like, for Randy Quaid, didn't something he kind of fell off the map or something? And then I looked it up, and it's like, no, he's got a pretty long rap sheet. I was like, what is this shit?
Because I was going when you put that on the list, I was like, wait, I knew something happened to him, but I was like, what happened? So I was pulled up his Wikipedia, and like he was on the run from the law, like from the government. I think two different governments for a while, the Canadian and the American government.
Yeah, before he was, I didn't see that he was on the run from Canada, but I saw that he sought asylum in Canada from America.
Yeah, but I think he was pissing them off. I think he wasn't doing the necessary protocols to seek asylum in Canada or something like that. Yeah.
He basically Randy Quaid actually like went full method and became Eddie the rest of his life.
Yeah, Eddie or the crop pilot from Independence Day. Hello, boys, I'm back.
That's right. That's right. The other one, and this is why I asked you before about the pool stuff. The idea of having a pool. Personally, as a kid, I was always like, yeah, of course I would love to have a pool. Never had one. Had an uncle who had one. And I was like, this is so cool, everything like that. But as I've gotten older and had a family friend who had one too, and learning from him, especially like the level of maintenance, because you alluded to that before, she's like, I don't think I'm ever going to want to have a pool. Like it seems like a lot of work outside.
I agree. My father has a pool. My father-in-law has a pool. This is a common theme. I'm bringing both of them up there. So they have to deal with it all the time. So it's like, getting it ready, getting it prepped, any sort of, again, maintenance or work after a certain amount of years. If the lining cracks, God forbid,
oh, geez.
all that's, and then just like the risk of injury. If you have kids running around the pool, you got to have a fence in. Larry David taught us that. And in some counties that's necessary. But yeah, all that stuff is nice. And I think the interesting question is, because these are kind of in the same idea, would you rather have a pool or have a boat? Because both of these things probably fall under the umbrella of like, you'd rather have a friend who has a boat or a pool.
I think I'd rather have, you know what? If you asked me that like 2 years ago or something, maybe I probably would, no question, say pool. Like I would have always said pool, but I don't know. I feel like if I had a boat, like I could enjoy it, but at the same time, I really, really have no desire to have either.
See, I think I would rather have a boat than a pool.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because like it can be like a relaxing thing that you do by yourself and whatnot, but they both are a lot of friggin' work.
One of my favorite pastimes recently is going on Facebook Marketplace and looking at boats for sale and finding out like what can I get on the cheap and what can I figure out how to fix on my own.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Most of it's outrageous.
What I always wanted, because I had like a relative who like I would see in the summer and stuff, who had a jet ski.
Yes, well, that's what I was just gonna say. I think that's a much easier. One, it's cheaper, right? You get a pair of jet skis. But two, the maintenance on that is crazy. All you have to need, you can actually get covers for it. You don't have to get your boat shrink wrapped or anything, or your jet ski shrink wrapped. So you can just kind of store them in your backyard. You
have to get your boat shrink wrapped and stuff.
Yeah, to get it winterized. Yeah, you'll see a lot of boats like that with like it's like white plastic that goes around the top of the boat and like around all the sails or
Oh,
the glass if you don't have sails.
I think I
And
know
it's
what
just
you're
to
talking
kind of keep all the cold air and snow and everything like that from
about.
the
Actually,
fiberglass.
now that I'm thinking about it, if especially if I'm like if we're talking boats that like you use it out on like open water, we're not talking like rivers and stuff like that, then I'd absolutely do a pool. Like I can't like I get I'm like terrified of the water. Like it's just
Are you? I didn't know that.
oh dude, so when we were on our
Find
honeymoon,
something out new.
real quick aside, and I
Hmm.
think you appreciate this. When we were on the honeymoon, we found out this crazy deal for like a day cruise that was like a stupid price that included lunch in the cost and like alcohol was included in like
Hmm.
the bill and everything like that. And then they took us around the island and everything, and you got to
Okay.
swim in the water there. So I was like, we're swimming in the Aegean Sea. It's like I mean, I got to try this out, but
Yeah.
I was so terrified that I was checking the night before once Lauren fell asleep, like how often do shark attacks happen in the Aegean Sea?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
putting it in your head. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was like, I absolutely like, but guess what? I got it. I went in, but the three every time we stopped to go in the water, I did it because I was like, the first time because I loved doing it as a kid, but just
Yep.
as I got older, I'm just like, oh man, I just
That's big media getting just pushing Shark Week and all these shark attacks on the Cape and all this stuff now.
yeah.
Because they tag all these sharks so they know where they are at all times.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
know what I mean? So like before they never had that technology, so you wouldn't know it, so you wouldn't hear about it as much. Because shark attacks don't really happen all that often.
no, I feel
But
like
shark sightings happen
Mm.
often.
I saw one shark sighting where probably was on Twitter because now with the way Twitter is, I see so much random freaking shit on there.
Yeah.
There was one time where it was like it was like extremely close to land. Like we're talking like it was like if it moved in any closer, it would have been on the sand.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just swam through a bunch of people who were like just standing, like not even waist high in the water.
I think I might have seen that one actually.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
When I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck is
Mhm.
this shit? How can that happen? Like, I'm never going in again. And then I went in the water when we were in the Aegean.
It was probably a dogfish or something like that. It's probably not a great white.
Yeah, I mean that would make more sense that it wasn't a great white. But anyways,
No, I agree.
I'm back on the pool side. Back on
Yes.
team pool.
Okay. So back on the pool. You got Randy Quaid aging the worst. I have Chevy Chase, and I'm not sure if this is warranted. He's always because I'm not sure if he's aged the worst. He's always kind of had like an asshole mentality to him or a reputation
Mm,
going back to his SNL days.
that's
I think
true.
a lot of people didn't like. I think that's just kind of who he is. But
Mm,
I do, his time at Community. I think he wasn't very well liked by much of his castmates.
yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like if you're like a jerk back in what was it? It would have been the 70s or the 80s, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was. I mean, if you're still that kind of jerk, there's a lot of stuff that probably doesn't age as well, which we
Oh
know
yeah.
we've heard that kind of stuff. So yeah, like that. I agree that maybe he's always kind of been an a-hole, but it seems like it's not aged as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I did not like the back and forth on the road with the trucks to open the movie when they're going out for
Yeah.
what is that? When they're going to pick up the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I did not like that at all. That I almost feel like you could have done without that. Like that scene kind of
Oh, you didn't like it because you thought it wasn't good.
no, it was fine. It gave me anxiety.
Oh
But I
yeah.
almost feel like that kind of sticks out as an oddity and that like I'm not sure if that really adds to the rest of the story that's happening.
Oh, it doesn't. I think it's a tone setter though.
Yeah.
The stuff with the way they get stuck under the truck is something else. But again,
That's crazy. And then they
yeah.
ended up, reusing that in the Fast and the Furious movies,
Yeah. It all plays together in like within the scene, but yeah, it's a good I thought it was a good way of establishing this is Clark Griswold. For those who don't know who he
Mhm.
is, this is the clown that you're dealing with. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
a lot.
absolutely. Cutting down your own tree. That doesn't really happen anymore. I'm not sure if that was ever really a thing.
I don't know why you do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, it's about the experience.
I guess so. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that's
I'm
dumb.
actually just speaking on experience here. I'm just completely out on real trees. Just I don't want any problem with it.
You're
Buy the
fake-
pre-lit fake trees.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a house, I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind, but I've been
Mhm.
since, yeah, been getting my own trees, it's been fake because
You
it's
can't. Yeah, it's a lot there. Buy the candles, the evergreen candles, and get the fake tree, and then it's the same thing.
Yep.
Being able to live on one person's salary and afford Clark's house and a pool in suburban Chicago.
Yeah, no way. No,
That's
I
kind
was
of like a
think-
Home Alone type situation.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, like how before watching this, like remember when it used to be that you could just live on one person's salary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's nuts, right? And it's I mean, you're probably more familiar with the suburbs of Chicago than I am, right? I
Mhm.
mean, those are
Oh,
some of the richest in the nation, I'm sure.
yeah, no friggin' way, man. I've seen the McAllister's house in person,
Mm-hmm.
like in that. I don't who and now thinking about how all the prices and everything, how much that shit's changed, I can't imagine. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if it was from 2021 to 2022 or 22 to 23, but I saw some tweet actually today that was talking about the property taxes of the McAllister house
oh,
doubled. So it was 20, whatever year it was. The previous year was 23,000 in property taxes, and it more than doubled to 50,000.
after
$50,000 in property taxes.
because of the movie.
No, just because
Oh,
property
oh,
taxes
oh,
raised, just because of
oh,
life.
gotcha. Yeah, no, that's
Which
yeah,
is nuts. That's like
that's insane.
$50,000. I don't know. Maybe
That's,
maybe I'm showing my class here or lack
no,
thereof.
no, that's a lot of. I think it's a lot of money to anybody. But I will say, everybody that I knew, pretty much everybody that I knew that was from and I had a lot of teammates that were from like the suburbs of Chicago. Like
Mm-hmm.
the parents did all right for themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's also crazy. That's one of those things that, like, what does he actually do? He's just like takes out the nutrition on chips or something like that. Like,
Yeah. Put in like an additive or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually probably a candidate too. Like, what is like Clark being praised for putting a new additive in food?
Yeah, that's not good, right? That's
Yep.
not good there. Who had the best performance by a side character?
It's between Eddie and cousin Eddie and Aunt Bethany.
Yeah, and I think it's cousin Eddie here. He's the most memorable one.
Yeah.
He's kind of has the cachet there. He definitely brings more of the comedic relief when things start to go south for Clark there. But I won't discount Aunt Bethany and her husband, who I'm blanking on the name there. But those two back and forth, and then he's just a real, he really gets things going.
Yeah.
The uncle there, because he sets it off with setting the tree on fire, and then he has the explosion outside after the sewer. So he's the cause of a lot of Clark's problems there. So I kind of liked him kind of being the MacGuffin.
Why do I keep wanting to say it's Lewis? I wanted to say Leo.
Lewis, yeah.
But yeah, he was like, 'cause he's like every time, like it's like, you're being a burden. Like he's the actual burden, but he keeps making like Clark seem like he's the problem in every way. Yeah, he was. You're right. He is something else too. It's definitely those three.
But yeah, Eddie's great. Aunt Bethany wrapping up the cat and then wrapping up the Jello mix, like all that stuff. Like that's just funny to me.
Friggin' Eddie with his dog too. We call him Snots because he's got like some sinus condition. Like it's funny too because like now it's like again, being older and us watching so many movies because of what we do, but like the dog looks totally fine for 1 second. Then as soon as he starts talking about Snot's name, he's like covered in mucus and shit. Where the fuck did that all come from?
Yeah, and he's like, it's just best to let him finish. Like I forget what he said that he had, like the condition that he had, but it's like the dog like humps his leg.
Yep.
But there's like a word that or a phrase that he uses, which is funny. And he's like, and it's best just to let him finish.
And he also like you'll never see another unit on a dog like that. Something to that effect. Like, what the fuck? Wait, on a random like cousin Eddie, was it the Johnsons? On that note, before we get into our last two categories, a little thing that popped up that I never noticed until now, which is like would never happen today, but it was like what the fuck, was when all the cops swarm on the family to go in and save Bill Murray's brother, the boss.
Yeah.
That
is Bill Murray's brother. I was going to say that looked like an older Bill Murray.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's
oh, that's funny.
Bill.
That's confirmation then.
Yeah, Brian Doyle Murray. So maybe they're half brothers. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, he's in Caddyshack.
Mhm.
But anyways, so he when the wife comes in to like identify which one's her husband and stuff, and all the cops have swarmed and holding everybody at gunpoint.
Yep.
When Murray turns and then you see Eddie's cousin Eddie's kids behind him, one of the fucking cops is holding the daughter at gunpoint.
I
I'm
did
just
not
like, what
notice
the
that.
fuck is this shit?
I
This
mean,
is
it's definitely excessive. They're scaling the house and like doing
Yeah.
rappels from the chimney down into the windows and like
Yeah.
breaking in everything.
completely excessive, but like then it's like, oh, you thought we went too far with this shit? Well, how about this as the last one? And I never noticed it in the few times that I've seen it.
I got a little chuckle. This is kind of a dumb
Crazy.
joke, but when the chief or whatever, the lead sergeant comes in, he's like, "Everyone freeze!" And then he turns around and goes, "Not you, get him!" And he's like, all his force thought that he was telling them to freeze, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, that's so
Yeah,
stupid.
what the fuck? And also, not to get lost in all that too, is where Ellen is holding Clark's package in the course of all that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Did not notice that the first time I watched. Definitely the second time around.
like her crotch, like his crotch.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, they're all. I don't know if it's at first because I always forget until the moment where she shakes the boss's hand. But when she does it, like it's very obvious that's what's happening.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Mm.
Who lost the movie, Nick? Who lost the movie?
The Chesters, who are the neighbors, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I don't remember
The
their
husband
names.
specifically.
Nicholas Guest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Margot and Todd. He doesn't. Neither of them look great, but he definitely is the loser of the two.
Well, he couldn't talk to Clark Griswold because that whole relationship or dynamic is funny because like Clark is constantly getting beaten down by the world. And then he kind of just takes it. He doesn't really care about the yuppie couple there, the Chesters. But that guy appears to have some sort of status or some sort of power or good job or something like that. And for him to like pretty much cower to Clark.
Yeah, it's like
It's weird.
There are a few things where it does. Like I get you can't. What are you going to say? Like with the lights, like what are you going to say? Like you're going to
Yeah.
And obviously with the icicle thing, you just they don't even know. Like how can you know?
But cutting the tree down,
The tree thing,
yeah,
like that's no. You gotta say something. And she's just like I'm. Like the fact that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Margot has to go over and do it. Yeah, the edge would go to him if you pick between the two.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Clark loses here. Of course he ends up getting the keeping his job, keeping the family happy, getting the Christmas bonus, and in a way getting a memorable Christmas that he never really had, albeit not in the way that he wanted to. But with all the damage that was done to the house with the fire, whatever's would happen to his septic system. I don't know if that goes into the sewer and all that stuff. But the explosion outside of his house, the police raid, which knocked in all the windows, he's not going to be able to afford the pool. He's got so much house damage now. Like,
I was thinking that when I was rewatching it this time around, like
he just has all these other problems now.
Yeah,
and it's like not even the joy of Christmas to like soften the blow. It's
100%. Yep. And also in that moment, I was like, this is so basically like it's all these miserable things that happen to us at Christmas time are okay because it's Christmas time. We're willing to accept these terrible things. That's what that's what the moral of the story is.
In the name of Saint Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. What else we got?
That's about it though for who lost the movie. Who won the movie here? And this goes back to my love for Beverly D'Angelo, but Ellen.
Yeah.
She holds up through all of this. She again comes out like looking like she's unfazed by everything. Like there's not a cloud of there's no dust on her shirt. She hasn't been she's going through the dirt with Clark the whole time. She's right there, They're cleaning up the trash after Snots or whatever the dog's name is goes through it, right? And they're saying like then you got Uncle Louis saying, bring me my stoves, and they're kind of just like getting shit on by their family. And instead of her being mad at Clark for forcing this issue of having the Christmas at their house, she's supporting him and is right there in the muck with him the whole time. But she comes out like with a lot of grace. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe that's the only way I can put it.
She looks great, and she is like the best person. I guess is the best way to
Yeah.
put it in this movie.
Just
At the
patience for everybody.
Yeah, I'm willing to give her the winner of this movie, but also you could argue that she's a loser because she's married to Clark, and it's like you could do so much
My
better.
problems are your problems, that sort
Yeah.
of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that absolutely. He definitely got a catch with Ellen there.
Yes,
The
but I
other
would give her that.
winner is John Hughes, who of course wrote this movie. I have his IMDb pulled up here. Let me see if I can get his
That's a good call,
his
though.
acting or his writing credits at this time. So he's in the middle of a huge stretch here. So we have National Lampoon's Vacation in 1983, 16 Candles. This is everything that he's written. Okay, so 16 Candles, 1984. The Breakfast Club, 1985. European Vacation, also in 85. Weird Science, also in 85. Pretty in Pink, 86. Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 86. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in 87. Uncle Buck in 89. Christmas Vacation in 89. Home Alone, 1990. I mean, this is crazy. What else do we have? Anything else going up there? Beethoven, 92. Also in 92. Home Alone 2. So
Yeah.
he's in the middle of this like great stretch right now. It's like Kevin Durant years, that he's getting all NBAs, he's getting first teams, he's getting MVPs. And you're just kind of like right in the middle, right at the climb of his middle.
Yeah, and neither of them got a ring for their work either. Oh no, wait a minute, Kevin Durant had to cheat to do it.
He got it.
Yeah, he did. He didn't cheat. That's not fair. But anyways, yeah, no, that's John Hughes is a great one too. I think the nod for me goes to Ellen here, but I mean, yeah, right in the middle of an absolute heater, no question about it.
Yeah, but I'm a little partial. Ellen, she's a little easier on the eyes.
That's true.
All right, I think that does it. So I gave Christmas Vacation an 87. Nick gave it an 81. That's CMM aggregate score of what, 83, 84, 84. I was right around it. So go check it out. It's available on Max right now, as well as a whole bunch of other Christmas movies that just got added there. So if you're doing your holiday season rewatch like Nick and I are, that's a good place to start.
Yep, it's hard not to this time of year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you got to go through your Harry Potter rewatch too. That's also I got to get that going too.
Yes, and Die Hard, all the Christmas classics.
And now we hope you get your tickets to the. I just passed over that there. No, that's not it. There it is.
Choo-choo, bitches.
All right, what'd you watch? Oh, you watched another John Hughes movie.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Like you mentioned Plane, Trains, and Automobiles earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We did watch.
Was that your first time, or was this a rewatch?
It was only my second time, but I'll tell you what. I swear, I think the first time I watched it, I fell asleep like I was a kid.
Okay, yeah.
My dad showed it to me, and I only know John Candy. I mean, obviously he's in Spaceballs, but I really don't remember Spaceballs all that well. And I feel like there's some other things, but I really always think of him as the Polka King of the Midwest, of course, from Home Alone. But yeah, seeing him in this, like so I enjoyed the movie. Like, yeah, it's like I was with my in-laws, and we had a nice time and everything. But I don't know if I'm a big Steve Martin guy.
Really? See, my dad's a big Steve Martin guy. He loves this movie. This movie. In fact, he would recite the lines to me when they're staying in the hotel room, and he uses what he thinks is a hand towel to wipe off his face. And then he pulls off the underwear. Earlier in that scene, he's like, "Where's your hand right now?" He's like, "It's between two pillows." And he's like, "Those aren't two pillows." All the time. Those are constant.
How about the Bears?
Recited. Yeah. So he loves that movie. I kind of like Steve Martin. I like him in The Parent Trap, or Parenthood. Excuse me.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I've obviously seen him in stuff, but I mean, Pink Panther's one thing that I think of for him, and then
okay, yeah, you got to go back a little bit further.
Father of the Bride,
The Jerk, Father of the Bride, Three Amigos.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Okay, was that him short? I can't remember who the other.
Him and Martin Short. I can't remember the third.
But yeah, he doesn't do. I'm not saying I dislike him. He just doesn't do it for me. But by the end of it, I was like, no, I enjoyed this movie. Like Thanksgiving, so like obviously I also think of it seems to be the now defunct PCP, because that was like one of their first
Yep.
episodes, I think, when the DSG formed. But yeah, so obviously, and also we watched Dan in Real Life, which is a Thanksgiving movie. Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was he battling with like suicidal thoughts or something like that? Or
nope,
no,
not in that
okay.
one. No, he falls in
No,
love
that's
with.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that's exactly. Yep.
Hmm.
He falls in love with his brother's girlfriend without knowing it's his brother's girlfriend, and she's only like a new
Oh.
girlfriend to her brother. So it's kind of like, and they have to spend like they spend like their Thanksgiving weekend as a group. So they're
That hijinks ensues there. I can see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually a fun family movie. I was kind of surprised by that. So I like that one quite a bit. But then other than that, I spent the all of Thanksgiving vacation in Connecticut with my in-laws, and then moving my brother into his lovely home with his lovely wife. So it was definitely a lot more work than any other Thanksgiving I've ever had, but I had a great time doing it.
Well, you're doing good husband duties. You're doing good brother duties there. You're
Thank you.
just a regular Clark Griswold.
Oh wow, look at that!
Yeah.
Full circle.
There it is.
Unbelievable. What about you?
I watched The Killer on Netflix. I think this is also released in theaters.
Okay, keep it spoiler free, please, because I'm dying to watch this.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender's in it. It's really good. It's the new David Fincher film. It ends kind of. It just kind of ends. Like it's not a great ending, but the first 45 minutes to an hour of it is awesome.
Hmm.
He narrates it, so you get the narration there. So there's like he's kind of moving to natural sound, the nat sound of everything. You know what I mean? So, like he's narrating over everything. So I think there's some really cool aspects there. He's got like, when you deal with any sort of contract killer, there's a certain like methodology behind it, and he's very particular about things and meticulous about things. So I think that like the neuroticism kind of comes out a little bit, which I think is cool. Highly recommend it. It's a good movie.
I think you and I had floated the idea of actually doing an episode on this at some point, a while
Mm.
back, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have anything. We have penciled in going forward, but we'll figure that out. But I'm very excited to check this out. I was just looking forward to it because this looks like an awesome movie. I love Fassbender,
Mm-hmm.
another actor like of this generation who I absolutely love, and I don't think that's an uncommon feeling for people towards him. But the other thing is too, I found this out after the fact, that this is originally a French comic book, and it has been Americanized by Boom Studios, which Joe had read it, has read some of it, and I think he like kind of liked it, but I think he said there's been some significant changes from the comic to the like from what he saw in the synopsis for because like I think he's not like exactly a contract. He's there's some changes, like some substantial ones, but I'm looking forward to it. And I say all the time, like there are so many other good stories in comics that are not just superhero stuff. And like it's been great what's happened with Marvel and DC, but I really hope for the sake of the comic book medium that we continue to get more of those other stories. Because awesome shit out there. There really is.
Well, yeah, I recommend this. This is good. This is good stuff for sure.
I'm excited.
But as for next week, we're TBA. We'll figure it out, whether it's holiday season or maybe it's The Killer on Netflix. We'll figure it out, and we'll let you know a little bit in advance of things, as we always do. But it'll always be same bat time, same bat place.